All right, everybody. March Madness is here. How about that? And I'm already hammering best bets for March Madness earlier in the week. I'm recording this early on the morning of Monday, March 13th. I hammered bets yesterday as soon as odds were posted. There are going to be great bets to take all the way leading up to Thursday. And I personally love locking in early bets because you can take advantage of sportsbooks that have mispriced odds early in the betting market, the betting landscape. So let's get right into it. Early bets for March Madness that I have already hammered. Play number 1, Mississippi State versus Pittsburgh. We are taking the over 132 minus 108 on WinBet. So I have locked in a bunch of plays already on WinBet. As you can see here, I have a bunch pending specifically for March Madness. One of them is this over that I took, Mississippi State at Pittsburgh, over 132, minus 108 odds at WinBet. So number one, the most important thing to understand here are these no-vig odds here. The way that the no-vig odds work, and they show up for every single positive expected value play, right? There is always going to be odds here under the column of no-vig odds. And these odds here, in this case, minus 115.65, they represent the most accurate line of how a market should be priced. The perfect line for a market is how I kind of like to describe it. The OddsJam perfect line. Essentially, what happens is OddsJam pulls lines from the sharpest sports books in the world, like Pinnacle, removes the VIG using a weighted average, and then just spits out the odds here. Again, a weighted average pull it from the sharpest sports books in the world. So the sports books that consistently do the best job at pricing odds are telling you this total over 132 should be priced at about minus 115.5, essentially, closer to minus 116. We're getting it all the way at minus 108 at WinBet. So the gap between these two numbers, that is where your profitability comes into play, right? The bigger the gap between the perfect line and the odds of the bet we're placing, the bigger your edge, which is captured in this percent right here. So essentially, we are getting a 3.28% edge on this play. This percent can also be viewed as your expected profit, your profit margin. For every $100 bet on this play, you could figure to profit $3.28. That's how the math works out. Now, one thing I like to do with totals and spreads specifically is it's important to see where every sportsbook prices this individual play, right? Over 132. We're getting it at minus 108, Pinnacle all the way up at minus 136. But if you view the event page in a new tab, it pulls up where every sportsbook prices the main line of this market, right? Not every single sportsbook is going to have the total priced at 132. So if you open it up in a new tab, let me zoom out just a little bit here, we can see, so we're getting it over 132. Every other sportsbook, except for Circa and PlayUp, prices this total at 132.5. Now that includes BetOnline and Bookmaker, which are two very sharp sports books. And Pinnacle actually prices this total at 133.5, a full 1.5 higher. Now, those of you that have been sports betting for a long time understand the importance of just beating the closing line by a point or by half a point. So these types of edge that you can find, especially in a landscape like March Madness that sees a ton of action, are incredibly valuable. Because we are locking this in on Monday morning, the most logical scenario here is that this total, which we got at 132, ends closer to 133.5 as soon as these sports books catch up to the sharp ones. So that's why A, I love getting in on lines early, and B, why this individual play is so good. If you just look at what the sports books are telling you, they're saying how likely it is that this total goes over 132. It should be priced above this number. So we're getting a really good price here. In sports betting, positive expected value betting, it's just a volume game. You want to maximize the number of opportunities where you are getting an edge like this. I'm not telling you that this individual play is a lock or that I'm guaranteeing that it'll hit. What I'm saying is if you take advantage of mispriced odds, mispriced lines, it'll work out more often than not in your favor. So play number 1, Mississippi State versus Pittsburgh, total points over 132, minus 108 odds at WinBet. Play number 2, and I have 3 total for this video. We're just locking in Missouri money line, plus 120 at Bet Rivers, This is also Bet Rivers as part of the Kambi books, Kambi, which is Bet Rivers, Barstool, Unibet, TwinSpires. There's a bunch of them, but those are the main ones. So Bet Rivers is offering it at plus 120. Look at every other sports book. Now, since this is a money line play, obviously there are no other lines to look at, right? It's either just money line, yes or no, who's going to win. There's no totals, there's no spreads. But look at this plus 120, right? It's a huge difference compared to every other book. And a money line market gets so much action that even the smaller gaps between your positive EV bet and every other book is meaningful, right? The OddsJam perfect line prices this at plus 118. Essentially, we are getting it up at plus 120. And the closest book that offers this play is PlayUp at plus 113, with every other book at a minimum at plus 110, all the way down to plus 105. And now if you look at Pinnacle, sharpest sportsbook in the world, plus 110, only 18 cents of juice. Really good play we are getting here. So this is another play that I locked in right here. Missouri money line, plus 120. I put a full unit. Every single one of these plays, I'm putting a full unit, 1 unit, which for me is $100. So that's play number 2. And play number 3 is another total on WinBet at minus 108 odds. In this case, we're looking at UC Santa Barbara versus Baylor over 143.5. So I locked in this one as well. I have a bunch here on WinBet, but here you have it. Over 143.5. Cal Santa Barbara at Baylor over 143.5 minus 108 odds. Risked 108 to profit 100. And it's the same logic here. It's a total. So we know that this is positive expected value. It's showing up on the positive EV page. But with a total, the more important thing is to look at where other sportsbooks are pricing it. And let's see here. We're getting it again at minus 108. Look at the other sportsbooks. BetOnline, Bookmaker have it at 144, a half point higher, with BetOnline actually still favoring this going over. They have the over priced at minus 113, the under at minus 107. So not only do they think this over-under should be priced higher, but they're still favoring the over as well. Circa is also a pretty sharp sports book. They have it at 144 as well. And then Pinnacle has their main line actually at 144.5. So similar logic here. We're getting an incredible price on UC Santa Barbara versus Baylor. So obviously I had to hammer it as my third and final pick for this video. So those of you watching, I appreciate you tuning in. If you are still watching, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but definitely make sure to follow me on Twitter as well. I post a bunch of plays that I have as well on Twitter that don't make it in a YouTube video. So hit me up, Jedi Modi, and that's it. So I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.